It's all fun. It's all laughs. Right? Right? Life's all good and whatnot. Sometimes. You see, so what's been happening is I fluctuate, right? I flux. I'm in a constant flux. I am the swinging pendulum. You know, what I notice, you know, within my experience is, you know, I'll hit that. I'll hit that happy moment. Or all of my fears, all of my vague human fears. Oh, how do I handle this situation? You know, any situation, all situations, every moment of my life. And what accompanies that is always this sort of, you know, the G-force that comes from rapid acceleration. Someone just flooring it with the GTR. Freaking flying. Like, oh, God! Hold on tight, baby! We're going! No. Mike Tyson said it best when he's like, it's like, no, yeah! And it's so jarring to live your life like this. To have your life be as such. That this is your experience, this is your reality. And so we do all these sorts of things. We juggle all the time. You know, is there something freaking solid about this thing that I can hold on to? You know, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, or something that's gonna orient me. So that way there's some kind of consistency from moment to moment where I have certainty in who I am and who I will be from moment to moment. This is what a lot of our lives, me included, our human lives are, you know, philosophy, or psychology, or studying of this and that, and doing the work on oneself, and going to therapy, and subscribing to religion and religious beliefs. I wanted to make my own philosophy out here. You know, what the hell is my philosophy on life? Oh, man. My philosophy on life, Papa. MacGyver everything. Basically, my philosophy, I don't know if my philosophy is like solidified and I'm doing my best attempts to extract it here, or if I'm actually doing the alchemical creations here to make it, to actually throw it into word form. MacGyver. Work with what you got. I work with what I have. There's a hypothetical situation. There's a hypothetical question that gets asked often. The big questions. Dude, if there was a zombie apocalypse and and whatever was to your left, you have to use as a way to defend yourself. What the hell are you defending yourself with? Luckily, right now I'm next to a canal. And I don't think zombies can swim very well. So I would have to hedge my bets, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Wade the water if it got dangerous. Or maybe I'd use something like one of those ladders across the canal and totally boof the system. Climb over this fenced-in lake right next to me. I don't think a zombie's getting through one of these fences with the. What do you even call these things on the top? Like the spikes on the top that prohibit you from climbing it? I don't know, I'd probably yeet my shirt over it or something like that to prevent bodily injury, and then take my tattered shirt back and just take my chances with the parasites in the water or something. I don't even know. I was supposed to be talking about my personal philosophy, using what you got. Based on experience, everything always kind of turns out fine. In the end, although I have yet to reach an end, there's always just tiny ends that begin anew, right? There's always the beginning and the end, Things are always starting as things are finishing. Things are always starting and finishing. So, anytime there's something that ends, it just happens to be okay enough. It's just the messy middle. It's the messy middle. Where you have to come in and respond. You have to do scientific work. Burn precious calories to figure out some equation within your mind. Move your body. Rock your body. Come on, rock your body. Man. So besides using what you got as a philosophy, besides the whole MacGyvering, you got anything else, or do we only got one commandment out here? Just a one commandment philosophy. That's pretty freaking rad, huh? We got one rule out here. No rules. Rule 2, refer to rule 1. Oh, Jesus. Like, why would that be a good philosophy on life? Work with what you got. Is there anything of your experience that, somehow promoted this? I'm leaning towards a yeah. I've got something kind of vague. And I think that more or less what that vagueness is growing up. Being an adolescent and whatever this through line is that I feel a connection to, what my, the kind of being that I was as an adolescent. I think of what that person did, what they would do, how they would handle situations, the things that they would, what they would try and do to, compensate for, various displays of whatever. Like, dude, I got bad grades in school, but I was the sweet, quiet, polite kid who wasn't overly weird, just very basics, very essentials, just polite and kind, and, I don't want trouble, but just, yeah, when I got home, I was not opening up the purple 4th grade math book to do homework. You kidding me? I had Xbox 360, Modern Warfare 2, interventions only, no ACOG, quick scopes only on Rust to freaking play. Throwing knives, baby. Double YY, triple, 360 no scopes. Off the map, epic kill cams to hit. Son, are you kidding me? Opening up the purple 4th grade math book, that was not very high on my list of priorities. And if it wasn't MW2, it was something else. It was Castle Crashers. Son, it was all these other things. And then, when it was time to come into that realm, that dimension of reality where I totally am just, hand over the forehead, covering the eyes. Just fill it in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's wrong or whatever, or if it's right. As long as you have it in, it can be okay. You can appear stupider than stupid. You can appear like the dumbest child in the world, as long as you don't appear like you didn't do anything. Then you're okay. So what brings about this, at this current point in time, it's a two rule philosophy, son. Rule 1, no rules. Rule 2, refer to rule 1. And okay, maybe it's a 3 rule. And then rule 3, MacGyver that. All right? Hillbilly engineering. Hillbilly engineer your life to glory. Oh. So I think about that adolescent, and I think about how that grew. It didn't just get nipped somewhere necessarily. It's like a bonsai tree. It grows, it thickens, it hardens, it solidifies itself in some shape, form, or manner. Right? So a lot of these very trunk-esque qualities, they have, it's going to take some freaking time. It's going to take some freaking time, and it's going to take some humidity, and it's going to take, other things to change something as fundamental to the structure as the trunk of your bonsai. That is you. That is me. That is us. And so I can look back, and because, that was my experience, I could definitely see, looking back, you get to see, oh, yeah. Because you knew how you behaved. You knew the things that that you were avoiding in those situations. You knew the thing that you were aiming to project. You knew the perception that you were trying to pull out and, put over yourself like an overcoat. So is that why I say to MacGyver things? I don't know. It's making less and less sense. I don't know why MacGyvering things would. I don't know. But I will speculate. Because why not? Okay, so if MacGyvering things was the proper, absolute supreme methodology to bring to life, and somehow, because of my experience as an adolescent, somehow brought me to this conclusion. I don't know. I think it's because doing so, living life in that kind of manner, like a significant portion of living your life in such that way is like you're living underwater. You're living a kind of lie. You have a whole different persona that, you've got some splaining to do at that moment, or you feel very obligated to explain yourself when you're no longer, whoever you project yourself out to be. It's very artificial. It's very manufactured. And there's just something, there's something interesting about MacGyvering, right? Because I feel like when you use that adolescent model and you MacGyver, it's very sinister. it's a very sinister form of MacGyvering. It's not sweet and innocent and good-natured. It's more deceptive. It's a deceptive MacGyvering. I'm gonna MacGyver a certain persona. So I'm gonna totally manifest a person who will never, who can absolutely not be, a person who you can yell at or blame or treat roughly. I'm just going to totally pigeonhole whoever's interacting with me into automatically treating me nice and good and sweetly, and who's going to give me the benefit of the doubt, even though I'm this thing, right? This freaking thing. And you know what? That's just not a good look. That's not a good look. You don't want to have to MacGyver who you are for, I don't even know. Like, what is it even for? What is it for, right? It is for like, it's for like monopoly money. Like, I'm not even talking about money. It's for like the most fleeting moment in time, another sentient being just likes you, right? They walk by you and they give you a thumbs up, and then, like, I don't even know, like, why time happens, experience happens, a cruise or whatever, and you can't help but notice the fleeting nature of time. Like, you can't help but notice that you are with you 24/7, 365, eternally. And that anybody who you encounter in life is just not there for the ratio of time that you spend with yourself versus, how the duration of time in which you just happen to be a sentient object for someone, a biological object for someone else for like 2 seconds in their life. And so you start to notice, the disproportionate amount of effort and energy you put into, like, this, like the plate spinning guy. Hey, yeah, kind of guy. And it just stops making sense. It ceases to make sense. And you question your own motives as to why even. Okay, so all of that being said, MacGyvering as a philosophy. So if all of that was a sort of negative light to MacGyvering, what is and if MacGyvering is even a good way to live your life, what is good about it? Why MacGyver? What are we missing? What's the the crème de la résistance, What is the freaking the shining ethereal light of this? What is it? MacGyvering. Why? Oh. Because the reality is you don't have it figured out. You don't have it figured out. Like, every moment of your life, for the most freaking part, is like Indiana Jones after he snatched the crystal skull. You know, he's like, he looks at it at first, and he's like, oh, yeah, and he grabs it, and then he hears some rumbling, and he knows there's hell to pay. There is something that needs his attention, and so his awareness is up. His reflexes are up. He's got a MacGyver situation that he doesn't know, you know, where is the danger? Where is the thing? Eventually, that reveals itself, and he has to escape. He's got to escape. Or if you don't like the approach, oh, he's got to escape. He has to survive. Because he is the protagonist. What, they're just going to kill him off? They're going to kill him off? Yeah, credits roll. You kidding me? I swear to God. Dude, but if that was really how they filmed the movie, that would be like... Dude, that would be provocative as hell. You'd be sitting in the theater, and everything would lead up to that moment. All of a sudden, he gets crushed by that rolling boulder, and it ends right there. Dude, you'd be like, why do they do that? You would have something to think about. Like, what the? It's like when they'd be in English class, your English teacher. Yes. The curtain. The author, the poet says the curtains are blue. What does that signify? His deep and guttural sadness. Or what have you. MacGyvering. It's like, use what you got to make the best possible thing for whatever predicament you are within. And oftentimes, the thing that you have is some kind of metaphysical, incorporeal, invisible thing. Whether that thing be an idea, a vague feeling coming at you, an intuition. Maybe just the wisp of a pattern that you smell miles away, that you don't know exactly why you know or whatever, but you're feeling whatever you were feeling. MacGyver. Okay, so if MacGyver is one principle to MacGyvering, that's one principle. You know, what would the opposition to that be? You know, maybe not even opposition. What are just other options, if not to MacGyver? You know, why and how does MacGyvering somehow in your mind, in your life, stand out, stand on the highest podium for you? Why is that? How is that? How'd you get there? What's going on? You know, who else entered the competition? Did you only win first place because everyone backed out? They forfeit? They forfeited? What is it? Where is she? Where are they? If you were to not MacGyver, That would say that would be to say, like, right? You know how things are gonna play out. Like, there's more certainty in your model of the universe. If MacGyvering were not the thing. You think, oh yeah, I'll do this, and this is who I'll be when that happens, and to be honest, I don't even know. Like, does this different philosophy and approach to life, do they have like a clear idea of future events? Like, is this what Christianity is? Is this what the Quran talks about? The Quran? Have faith. Have faith in the Lord, and he shall smiteth away all thine issues. Simply have faith, and ye shall move with grace. You know what? I think the reason that I like MacGyvering, as opposed to whatever that sort of certainty behind, like a faith, is that it feels more human. Because being a human, you're filled with tons of anxiety and stress and worry and just the onslaught of various human emotions along the spectrum. And sometimes you don't even know why, right? You haven't pinpointed down why. And so, as I MacGyver my way through life, figuring things out, drunken Rock Lee style, from moment to moment, I feel more at ease with things. I feel like it's more of an accurate representation of what it is to be a human being. Or at least me, in my life, very specifically. I have the idea in my mind that being a relatable, spastic sometimes human being, or just like an amateur cake maker's best attempt at making a cake, I find that to be like, oh my God, this is delicious. It is beautiful and it tastes great. And man, you put in this effort. You telling me you went and you made these cupcakes? You mixed the freaking flour with the stuff? That's so, yeah. That is, I guess that's just how I like things, right? Well. Hey, and you know what? What I'm about to say, I know going into it that what I'm saying is not the truth entirely. This is not the entire truth at all. That this is one very niche perspective, and that this is not a firm belief of me, myself, and I. And what this is that the Christian path is it even the Christian path that I'm referring to? I don't even know. I'm referring to what I'm thinking in my mind is something that feels very artificial person-y. You know, fake it until you make it. You know, you can have the worst day and just be filled with sadness. If you just smile, you know? If you just smile, you know? You might even recognize that you can simply physically pull yourself out of some emotional thing if you just try. And you know, I just don't know how much I like that idea, right? I don't know. You know, that makes me skeptical. You know, I'm looking into the fine print of everything that entails. I'm thinking like, oh, does that mean that you're repressing, you know, something in your life? Does that mean that you're avoiding whatever it is you have to process whenever you're in the midst of whatever that negative emotion is, or however you perceive it to be negative in some way? Like, is there something you're not allowing yourself to? What are you missing because of that thing that you're pushing away? What is it? I want to know. Like, I feel like there's something there. If I feel like there's something there and you're using this to just as a foundation, you know, a primer, you know, cover it up. Oh, you have a black eye? It's all good. Just use here. I've got the foundation and the primer you can use in I've got the right tone of this other stuff, base coat or something like that. And we could just polish that up. It'll be like no one ever knew. And if you just smile, you know, at one point you won't ever know. Right? And we could just have a grand old time. And there's something very, very dystopian about that idea to me, that, you know, all we need is love. You know, all we need is happiness. If you could just smile, it's dystopian to me. And so that little preface about, I don't think that the Christian path is like this. Hey, I mean, not at all. Not at all. I mean, not at all, but yin and yang, son, you know? There's a little bit of yin in every yang, and every little bit of yang in every yin, you know? So I don't know why I said Christian path, you know, the path of the Quran initially. You know why? Because I feel like the people that I'm thinking of, at least, they use this sort of, there is a heaven and there is an afterlife, and if all you have to do is have faith, and all you have to do is believe, and if you just believe, dude, we will have heaven on earth. That to me, dude, that's like a wormhole. That's a wormhole. That's a wormhole into some kind of golden dimension at which I have just popped the key into, obviously. You know, though that particular sequence of words with the right tone of voice, you know, it all just came together in this, you know, golden glowing moment that, you know, the kingdom of heaven is now shining and raining glory down upon us eternally, forever. As long as I believe, of course. As long as I believe, of course. Then everything's okay. And, I don't know, man. I think that... I don't know, man. I think that sort of reaching for whatever that emotional, whatever level, range, you know, whatever octave that emotion is, I think it's like a drug, right? It's so amazing. It's so addictive. It's so luscious, and just all the best descriptive words you can possibly fathom. You know, that is how you would describe the octave of emotional level of just good feelings that you feel whenever, you know, that sort of faith-based, you know, the believe, you know, will bring about that that, you know, I recognize the difference in attitude, you know, where our paths diverge is the one where I think to myself, no, you're right, it's totally great, it's totally amazing, I get you. But, you know, I also like the other octaves, man. I like the other levels. Because it just adds, there's a contrast for me, you know, there's something else. There's something else about the composition for me when there's, you know, different tonages, different levels to this thing. You know, a sort of contrastical dynamic image of wacky juxtapositions and things that rarely make sense and definitely don't go together. I find things like that a little bit charming. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for the opportunity to go on about this thing. Thank you for listening. I will be seeing you. And as my grandma says, every time she hangs up the phone with me, she says, "I loved hearing your voice, sweetheart. My love to all. We'll be talking. Bye, sweetie." And if you knew my grandma, you'd be like, damn, that's a good impression. Holy hell, that was right on the spot. So, you know, my love to all. Bye, sweeties.